What is going on, everyone? The Houston Texans just defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-20. The Houston Texans sweep the season series. See you next year, losers. But guys, we have a lot to talk about because the Houston Texans almost let this one slip away. We saw a questionable decision from our head coach, DeMeco Ryans, that could have potentially cost us this game. And then we got to talk about Aziz Al-Shaair, his big hit on quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Texans get a much-needed win. And hey, what we wanted to see all year from this Houston Texan offense in quarters 3 and 4, we finally got to see it. We're going to discuss all this next. What is going on, everyone? My name is Ruben Calavillo, and I drop daily Houston Texans content. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for the latest news, rumors, and updates. And if you guys are new here to the channel, I drop daily Houston Texans content, so feel free to come back for more. This episode today brought to you and powered by BetUS. They are giving you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. On your second and third, it's a 125% sign-up bonus with promo code YouTube150. BetUS, ladies and gentlemen, quick 24-hour payouts, 24-hour customer service, where the game begins. We first got to talk about that big hit from Houston Texans linebacker Aziz Al-Shaair. This is from Jonathan Alexander. DeMeco Ryans on Aziz Al-Shaair's hit. That's not what we coach. He has to be smarter. But as it's not a representation of who Aziz Al-Shaair is, he said that he had a one-on-one conversation with him. It was dirty. As a Houston Texans fan, I'll say it. It was dirty. We put rules in place to protect quarterbacks. However, I will say this. Trevor Lawrence should have slid earlier. The scouting report should have told Trevor Lawrence that Aziz Al-Shaair will take your head off. And here's the thing. When you look at the hit, there was no helmet-to-helmet contact. It was Aziz Al-Shaair's forearm that was blasted into his chest. And because of that blast, Trevor Lawrence's head snaps back, ugly hit on the turf. Let me say, Trevor Lawrence, I hope you get healthy. That was an ugly moment for you. But also, you got to be smarter in that situation. Not only from Trevor Lawrence, from the Jacksonville Jaguars. What the hell were they thinking playing him in this game? The season is already over. They were just trying to be petty, trying to ruin the Houston Texans season. It's a divisional game, I understand. But you just put your quarterback at risk, and you saw what happened today. He gets absolutely blasted by Aziz Al-Shaair. Now that leads to a huge brawl between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Houston Texans. Understandable, right? Aziz Al-Shaair kept it going. He was, he had to be taken to the locker room by 4 guys because he was about to get into it with the Jacksonville Jaguars fans. They were throwing trash at him. I mean, warranted, right? You knock out Trevor Lawrence. Crazy situation. I haven't seen a altercation like that since Andre Johnson whooped Cortland Finnegan's ass. But I will agree, it was dirty. As far as helmet to helmet, no. Should he have been flagged? Absolutely. Should he be ejected? Absolutely. If Aziz Al-Shaair does get suspended, would I understand? Absolutely. But we also got to look at Trevor Lawrence and say, what the hell were you thinking? That's why a lot of people, right? Coach JB from Netflix's Last Chance U, the former Packers quarterback who's big on TikTok, big on Twitter, he talked about how Trevor Lawrence needs to slide faster, knowing who's in front of you. But just an ugly moment from the Houston Texans and Jacksonville Jaguars game. Trevor Lawrence knocked out by a big hit from Texans linebacker Aziz Al-Shaair. Whatever happens in the next coming days, it's warranted, right? Big hit, like DeMeco said. That's not what we coach. He has to be smarter. Next, I want to talk about this Houston Texan offense. Because what we saw in quarters 3 and 4 were very uncharacteristic. And that was the Houston Texans putting up points in the second half. They had 17 today, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and that's with 0 touchdowns scored in the first half. Entering halftime, ladies and gentlemen, the score was 6-3. And I thought that was going to be the final score of the game. Because from what we've seen from this Houston Texans offense, once halftime ends, once quarters 3 and 4 start, this offensive unit completely shuts down. And that was not the case today. The offensive line, I want to give them credit. C.J. Stroud only sacked twice. Now, you could say both of those sacks were on C.J. holding on the ball too long. We talked about how if Trayvon Walker, if Josh Hines-Allens get going, they could ruin their offensive game plan. And outside of these 2 sacks, man, the Houston Texans offensive line did a good job. Not only were they able to protect C.J. Stroud, they got it going on the ground. Joe Mixon, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, 5.1 yards a carry, a long 30-yard run to set up one of the touchdowns. The second half is what you've wanted to see all year from a Houston Texan offense. Now, can we get this consistently? Can we get this for 4 quarters? Now, am I just going to buy into the Kool-Aid and say, hey, the Houston Texan offense is fixed? No, because I know who we just played, the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, baby steps, ladies and gentlemen. You did get some confidence after this game. I heard in the locker room after, DeMeco Ryans gave a game ball to the Houston Texan offensive line. Baby steps, ladies and gentlemen. Moments of growth. You got the bye week to get it together. Then give it your all against Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore. Because I know how we're feeling right now. We still have some doubts, still some concerns about this Houston Texans team going forward. But let's say you win 2 out of the 3. We are feeling a hell of a lot different about this Houston Texan offense. C.J. Stroud, 22 of 34, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. First time in a while we get to talk about C.J. Stroud now throwing an INT. Quarterback rating, 95.5. Now, this didn't felt like a get-back game from C.J. Stroud, but what we saw today was C.J. Stroud. And that was calm, that was collective, and we didn't see his demeanor like we've seen recent weeks, upset on the sideline, looking like he is about to cry. We saw a different C.J. Stroud today. Also for him, not completely sold. We got to have good moments against Miami, Kansas City, and Baltimore. Baby steps, ladies and gentlemen. Nico Collins has not been taking baby steps. This is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. 8 catches, 119 yards. Nico is that dude. This offense is dependent on Nico Collins, on Joe Mixon. Shout out to 12. Like Drewski said, he's out there. Dalton Schultz, welcome to the party. 5 catches, 61 yards, 1 touchdown. His first touchdown on the year. And you saw Bobby Slowick, who had a fade, by the way. Finally, we got it. We got you one. Felt like the monkey was taking off Dalton Schultz's back. A lot could happen when you have some things working for you guys. When everything's going bad, it's going bad. But when everything's going good, it's going great. Which is what this season has been all year. Grow upon this, right? Let's keep it up. 4 quarters. Can we get a full 4 quarters of a dangerous Houston Texan offense? I want to bring up our head coach, DeMeco Ryans, because there was a moment, a decision that he made that could have cost the Houston Texans this win. His decision not to go for it on 4th and 1, rather punt the ball away, trust in your defense, and we know what happened. Jacksonville came roaring back. Touchdown Parker Washington, touchdown Brian Thomas Jr. You blinked and it was 23-20 just like that. We've seen DeMeco Ryans be conservative before when it cost him, and it almost cost him today. That moment, I think, for me was one where I look at DeMeco and I say, yep, you are a second-year head coach. You yourself are also growing, which is just crazy that the Houston Texans have won 8 games when your second-year quarterback struggling, your second-year offensive coordinator struggling, and your second-year head coach having moments himself. This has been a stressful season, even more stressful than last year, right? Last year it was fun. We weren't supposed to be there. Expectations this year, and every single game, besides the New England game, besides the Vikings game, has came down right to the very end. And this is a team that is one of the worst in the NFL. And I'm talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you heard Joe Mixon say a couple of weeks ago, we were playing not to lose the game, it felt like that in that decision. Now, what I find interesting is you don't go for it on 4th and 1, but you run it on 3rd and 4 to win the game. Big run by Joe Mixon, big block by Robert Woods. What are we doing there? I think that was a moment for DeMeco that we should just keep an eye on. Didn't like that there, but we also have to keep, into count that he's growing himself as a head coach. And just to put a bow on this, ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Texans defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-20. They are currently 8-5, 6-2 in the AFC, 4-1 in the AFC South. The Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen, get a much-needed win against Jacksonville. Like I mentioned, they sweep the season series. Let me know what you thought about this dub in the comments down below. It definitely wasn't pretty, but from the offensive side, we saw some good things in the second half. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Just come back for more. This episode was brought to you and powered by BetUS, ladies and gentlemen. Quick 24-hour payouts, 24-hour customer service. BetUS, where the game begins. You all have a very blessed day. I'll see you tomorrow.